Hello everyone, my name is Dalton Bradley and welcome to my final presentation of the year. Um, I kind of wanted to do a part of my presentation, just the beginning part of my presentation, as a video of myself, just so you guys can actually see me a little bit, and then the rest of it's actually going to be a Prezi that I recorded. Um, so I guess the first thing that we needed to talk about was something that was unique about ourselves. And I guess the thing that I wanted to talk about is a little bit personal. But the thing that's unique about myself is that I was born with cerebral palsy on my right side. Um, and when I was born, the doctors weren't even sure if I would ever be able to walk. And as of right now, I live on my own with my wife, and I can walk. And I mean, really, the only thing that you notice about it is a small limp, and most people don't even notice that. So it's something that I really have a lot of pride in, and that I'm really proud of myself, knowing that I've been able to overcome that obstacle in my life. So that's what's unique about me. And so give me a second and we'll get into my presentation. Okay, this is my presentation. I chose to do managing conflict and negotiation. I believe it's chapter 11 in the book. The big subject in this chapter is obviously conflict. And a conflict, as you can see there, I put the definition, is a serious disagreement or argument. Um, and with everything that's changing in our lives, conflicts are inevitable in the workplace as well in our daily lives. And the term conflict often comes along with a negative attitude. However, a lot of people don't know that a conflict can bring a lot of positive outcomes. A functional conflict occurs when two or more people, through amicable communication, reach a productive outcome. So that basically means, and this is where a positive conflict can occur. Sometimes you're going to disagree with people in the business atmosphere, especially. There's going to be somebody with a different idea than you, and it's when you can work together and make your two different ideas combine into something that could potentially be better. That's when it's a positive outcome. A dysfunctional conflict, of course, is whenever this conflict or this disagreement you're having gets to the point where it's just not possible to work together anymore. And that's something that is very negative, and it can be very distracting to everyone around you. There are a few forms of conflicts. The first is a personality conflict. This is one that probably everyone at some point in their life has gone through. It's basically when you just honestly don't have the same type of personality as someone, and you just don't get along with them, or you just don't agree with their beliefs, or you don't agree with what they're doing as a person. And that's okay. Um, that happens a lot, and it's being able to understand that that's going to happen, and being able to work around that as best as possible, that can really make that a better situation. The second, as you can see, um, is behavior that is intended to harm the targeted individual, either emotionally or mentally. Hopefully, it's not physically, but that can occur as well. Um, this is basically when somebody is just lets that personal conflict get to a point where it's just not going to be able to work together, and it's just not going to get to a point where, yeah, everyone can work together. As you can see there, um, a contract or a contact hypothesis is the idea that the more conflicting parties interact, the less conflict they will experience. In my personal experience, this doesn't really work. The few times that I've seen conflicts in my work area, it's usually just best to kind of part ways. But that's kind of just my line of work. And the other subject in this chapter was negotiation, which is a very good way to stop a conflict. Negotiation um, is defined as trying to reach an agreement or compromise by discussion with others. There's two types of negotiation, according to the book. The first is distributive. It usually involves only one issue, where one person gains at the expense of the other. This would be a situation where if somebody or if two parties just could not come to an agreement and finally to just kind of give up on the conflict and give up on the argument, one party decided to say, look, I don't really agree with what you're saying, but we'll do what you say anyways. Excuse me. The second is integrative. This usually involves one or more issues, and all parties involved can gain from it. So this is a situation where, like I discussed earlier, where possibly both um, ideas could be merged together to make one better idea, or it was just possible for both ideas to happen simultaneously, but not that didn't necessarily affect each other. A few authors that I found on this subject. The first is Patrick Lencioni. He was born in 1965. Um, he's best known for his best-selling book, Five Dysfunctions of a Team. He also has written 8 other books, including The Advantage, Why Organizational Health Triumphs Everything Else in Business, and Overcoming the Five Dysfunctions of a Team. The second author that I found, Michael Stavers, some of you may have heard of him. He's quite well known. He's the author of You Don't Know How to Shut Up, 20 Ways to Diffuse Anger and Calm People Down, and Resolving Conflict. He has a bachelor's degree in business and a master's in psychology. This is a quote from his website. It says, an advocate of counterintuitive thinking, Mike resists conventional wisdom and instead presents the cold, hard truth when challenging honesty. With challenging honesty. And I really like this quote because that's really something that's hard for a lot of people to do, especially when there's already a conflict um, going on. It's really hard for somebody to be honest and say, I don't agree with what you're saying, or I think we should go with something else. Um, so that's really a quote that I like a lot because it's kind of something that I hope to be able to do with my career. I would really like to be somebody that everyone that I'm working with knows me to be honest and to be able to tell the truth even when it's not the easiest thing to do. All right, so my link to reality is actually, it's kind of funny. There was a recent experience at work lately where 2 of my coworkers, because I'm a student internist at International Labs, and I also work with a few other student interns directly, and they both go to UNM, and they actually have their degree is the same, so they obviously go to the same classes. They have a couple same classes, and there is one where they actually were in a group together in that class. And I don't know if anyone has ever told you guys, but it's probably, and from my experience with this, it's probably not a very good idea to be that close to somebody all the time. So they worked together 9 hours a day, then they went to class together for 2 hours, 2 times a week, and then they had to meet on weekends to discuss group projects and that sort of thing. So as you can imagine, they got pretty frustrated. One of them actually ended up dropping their um, group a week before their final presentation was due, and it really just caused a pretty big wave throughout our entire group. And I mean, I did my best to kind of just stay out of it and really not get involved, but I definitely saw how that could affect um, the the outcome of, or just I guess the working environment of everyone around you when you have a disagreement with somebody. Just one thing that I put down here at the bottom, just something that I would really like everyone to know, that conflicts are going to happen probably every day, whether it's at work or at home or just driving down the road. Somebody's going to cut you off and it's going to cause a conflict. Um, but it's how you deal with them that counts. And it's really hard sometimes to deal with a negative conflict in a way that ends up in a positive. Um, but all I can say is do your best, and I really hope you guys like my presentation, and have a good winter break. Thank you very much.